Tänase saate peategelasteks on kaks 20. sajandi alguse avangardi pioneeri. Üks neist on laiemale kunstipublikule peaaegu tundmatu Rootsi naiskunstnik Hilma Klint. Teine on kõigile tuntud avangardi klassik, Vene kunstnik Kasimir Malevitš. Kui Hilma Klinti loomingut hakatakse 100 aastat hiljem alles laiemalt avastama, siis Malevitši suprematismi manifest Must ruut on juba 100 aastat järeltulevate põlvkondade kunstnikke innustanud ja inspireerinud edasi mõtlema ja oma tõlgendusi andma.
So Hilma af Klint is the same generation as Edvard Munch, born in 1862 and died in 1944. As Munch actually also died in 1944. But for a woman, it was not that the male artist circles would open their arms and say, Hilma, wonderful that you are an artist too, come into our circles. Not at all. Her father and other males in the family, they were in the marine. She was brought up in a quite traditional way, I would say. But she was one of the first women to study equal terms with male students at the Art Academy in Stockholm. And she studied there for more than 5 years. She studied also portrait painting before she went to the Art Academy. So she has a thorough education in the arts. In the beginning, she did very beautiful landscapes in a naturalistic style. This was what they were doing, and beautiful portraits, watercolors of flowers. So she was like trying to understand the world around her. She was exhibiting these works, and she was regarded so talented that the Art Academy in Stockholm gave her a studio. So she had a studio in the center of the city, and she was working there until 1908. But around the 1890s, she obviously felt that reality was maybe much bigger than what you could see and feel and touch. And that was on the same level as in the natural sciences. If you think of Heinrich Hertz, who discovered electromagnetic waves and managed to send them from a sender to a receiver. So slowly, like telegraphy and telephone was developed. Or if you think of Wilhelm Röntgen, who discovered the rays which were called after him, the Röntgen rays in the 1890s. So in the sciences, there was like an understanding that the world is so much bigger than what has been understood before. And many artists, Hilma af Klint was one of them, they wanted to get access to this bigger world. And she and a group of 4 other women, they were engaging in seances. So they were meeting and they were doing automatic writings and automatic drawings already in the 1890s. I mean, there was big trends. They were not the only ones, but they were doing it for 10 years. And after these 10 years, she had the feeling she had contact with higher planes of consciousness, so that she got information which was not her own fantasies, but something were coming through. And she was asked to make a series of paintings, which today are known as the paintings for the temple. And they are 193, and they were done between 1906 and 1915. And they are amazing because they are abstract works, formats which were like not small little paintings, but some of them, which we see, for example, here, they are over 3 meter long and 2 meter 40 wide. So she was like really going for something which was enormous. And the colors, the size, the abstraction was nothing which could be found in contemporary art at her time. She was always interested in understanding life and depicting it, until a point where she understood maybe everything was much bigger. And if we listen to a radio today, we can change the channel and then we can hear another program on another channel. And I think for her it was this understanding that she had to change the channel, to change vibration. And what they mainly did, she and these 4 other women, they went into meditation. Today we would call it meditation. But at that time, Spiritism was very, very popular. And you know, it was the time where there was this woman, Helena Blavatsky, who initiated Theosophy. And all people who were like at the edge of their time, they were interested in that. And so was Hilma af Klint. And later she was also interested in anthroposophy. Rudolf Steiner, who was both the secretary of the German Theosophical Society, came to Stockholm. She met him in 1908, and later he became the head of the Anthroposophical Society and started anthroposophy. There were a lot of people who wanted to have a wider view on life than the materialistic view. So she was like teaching herself and trying to de-learn what she learned at the Art Academy. So, and if you look at art history, 30 years before the Surrealists did automatic writings, Hilma af Klint and the group of the 5 did that already in the 1890s.
And the other 4 women, are they also great artists like Hilma?
We don't actually know so much about them. We know Anna Kassel, which was an old friend from the Academy. She's an artist. The others we are not really sure, but they were like interested in trying to get a bigger view on the world. Each of them were working together.
But were they accepted in the society?
As a woman, even if you had your education on the same level as your male colleagues, you were not embraced as a female artist. At that time, it was still expected that a woman maybe should do this before she got married, and then she should marry and get her children and don't do anything else. I mean, Hilma af Klint never married, so she was really like devoting her life and career to her art. And what is also amazing, all the works in this exhibition, the abstract works, they have never been shown during her lifetime. So she did all these more than 1,000 works, and in her testament she stipulated that not earlier than 20 years after her death they should be made available. Because she understood in her time, people would think that these mad women, they wouldn't have an understanding for this. And it took even more than 20 years. It took more than 40 years until first parts of her work sipped out. And that was not in Sweden, but it was in Los Angeles in an exhibition with the title The Spiritual in Art. There were only shown like 13 works, smaller and bigger ones.
How did she earn money?
She lived a very modest life. Until the mother died, she lived together with her mother, and the mother had a pension, so they shared this pension. And then the family of Klint, they had 2 farms, you could say, and from the income from the farms were shared between her sisters and brothers and her. And then, since the family became known through 2 of her ancestors who made charts of the deep depths of the Baltic Sea, so that boats could navigate there. For that they got money every year. So it was little money here and little money there. The friend Anna Kassel, who was an artist, she came from a very wealthy family, so she supported Hilma af Klint sometimes. Also until 1914 she was exhibiting works, and she was also selling, but not these abstract works at all. She was told that these images would have messages for a future generation, so that they were important. And what you can say is, I mean, many people don't believe that you can have a contact with higher consciousness. And I think it doesn't matter so much what we believe or don't believe, but I think it's remarkable that there is a woman artist. She embarks on a journey where there's no map. She doesn't know where this will lead her to. She's been asked, are you willing to take this commission of doing the paintings for the temple? And she, like, after some days, she says, yes, I do this. And she didn't know what all this would be about. But she channeled them, and she had the support of the 4 other women. And This is very interesting, and people, when the exhibition started in Stockholm, they were saying, okay, but if this is channeled, maybe this is not art what we see here. It's interesting. But of course, Hilma af Klint was an artist, and what does an artist do? No matter where the ideas come from. I mean, in male artists, they talk about the genius or so, and there's also inspiration which comes somewhere from. The male, they were like educated in the way that they would always say, I did this, but Hilma af Klint said, it came through me. It's not me, but it's through me. And she was like more generous in not needing to say, it's like, oh, everything is mine. You talk about Kandinsky and Mondrian and Malevitš, and these works have been done before Kandinsky did his first abstract works. So even if they never met, but Hilma af Klint did these abstract works earlier. And that's very interesting because you can ask now, what does this mean for the art history? Should we rewrite art history? Do we have to say not Kandinsky was the first abstract painter, but maybe it's Hilma af Klint? But I think maybe this is not so interesting. It's more interesting that there are, at the time around 1900, there are a lot of artists from different parts of the world who do investigations and try to widen the perspective. And Hilma af Klint is an extraordinary woman artist who devoted her life to her research. If you look at the work, they are very varied, but they are also very systematic. I mean, these 193 works of the temple, they are not 193 works, but they come in series and they have groups and subgroups. And also when this commission was finished, she's continuing to do research in groups of works, in series. So she is like a very scientific mind who tries to understand in imagery about us and who we are as human beings on this planet Earth. I did this exhibition for Stockholm, for the museum I'm working at, and my interest was to see not only the works of the temple, but also how Hilma af Klint started her artistic career, how she continued after this commission was done in 1915. So I wanted to have like this broad perspective, and at the beginning I was only curious, and then the exhibition was like getting so much interested in Stockholm, and the other institutions like Berlin and Malaga, they said, we want to have the show. And then we said, okay, if you want, then we try to make it possible. And then the other institutions came and said, can we also participate?
Sirja Helme niisugune oma isiklik suur soov oli, et see näitus siia Kumusse kunagi jõuaks. Ja kuna nüüd see näitus Euroopas mitmel pool ringi reisis, siis avanes selline võimalus see vahepeal ka Kumusse tuua. See tööde kogum on küll suures mahus see, mis ta oli ka näiteks Moderna näitusel, kuid erinevatel näituste pindadel on tehtud väikseid korrektuure ja ei ole ka ta alati nii suures mahus üleval olnud, kuid Kumus on ta ikkagi väga suures mahus üleval, see terviknäitus, mis algselt siis Moderna poolt kokku sai pandud.
Behind this exhibition is a huge research. I mean, it's not only that Hilma af Klint painted paintings, but they did also writings. I mean, they tried to understand the whole process of works, and there are more than 20,000 pages of text. And we photographed and digitalized each of these 20,000 pages. This was part of the project. We photographed all of her drawings, everything. But of course, here are like 230 works maybe in this exhibition now. And in all together, she made 1,200 works. So it's not all, but I think the most important works are there, and you get a feeling for what this is about. The world was very materialistic at her time, And there was such a need to see a bigger picture than only like consuming. And maybe there's a parallel to the time when Hilma af Klint did these works and our times, because we are living in a very materialistic time too. And many people are very tired of this. And maybe this is one of the reasons why this exhibition, which traveled, and we try to guess how many people have seen the exhibition, and we think it's nearly 1 million people who have seen the exhibition and her works. And that is amazing that there are so many people interested. So it seems that there's a resonance in our time. So maybe, 100 years ago, Hilma af Klint made images for the future, and maybe the future is now. We have learned so much how to behave and how to think and so. And very often we are maybe not so open to see that there are other possibilities and open up for them. And I think she's an example who really dared to go into new land without having a map telling you how to navigate there.
Hilma af Klinti nimi oli meie kunstnikele teada, näiteks Tõnis Vindile, kes oli teadlik tema teostest, oli huvi tundnud ja ilmselt siis ka üles leidnud, et nende töödega kontakti saada. Eks näiteks ka see 86. aasta näitus, kus siis ka teiste autoritega koos ühises kontekstis teda nagu suurema mahuliselt näidati seal Los Angeleses, see võis ka nagu olla üks näitus, mida teati ja ka selle kirjanduse pinnalt, mida nad kõik lugesid, on kokkupuutepunkte.
Et huvitav, et meie enda see avangardi periood 20. aastatel, et seal nagu just niisuguseid spirituaalseid ja teosoofilisi mõtteid ju väga palju ei liigelnud teada oleva.
Jah, ma arvan, et kõige rohkem on seda tõesti uurinud Tõnis Vint, kes igasuguseid erinevaid religioosseid märgisüsteeme on analüüsinud, tõepoolest nagu väga sellesse maailmasse sisse elanud. Muidugi näiteks ka Laapini loomingust, tema oli ju eriliselt huvitatud just sellisest konstruktiivsemast poolest Malevitšist. Malevitš oli täpselt samamoodi selline teise dimensiooni poole püüdlemine ja see maailmaruumis hõljuvad need struktuurid, et see kõik see niisugune spirituaalne taust oli väga paljudel kunstnikel tegelikult.
Hilma af Klinti põlvkonnast on ka Kasimir Malevitš, kes sündis Kiievis 1878. aastal ja suri Peterburis 1935. aastal. Malevitš läks samuti vaimsele rännakule, jõudes oma teed pidi pikkade otsingute tulemusena puhta spirituaalse kunstini, mida ta nimetas suprematismiks ehk puhta tunnetuse ülimuslikkuseks kunstis. 1915. aastal eksponeeris ta esmakordselt oma tööd must ruut valgel taustal koos teiste suprematistlike maalidega. Must ruut oli Malevitši jaoks justkui nullpunkt. Ta oli otsustanud lõplikult loobuda nähtava reaalsuse kujutamisest ja astuda sammu teisele poole, spirituaalsesse sfääri, tühjusesse, milles sünnib puhas kunst geomeetriliste vormide ja põhivärvide keeles. Must ruut on ka Eesti kunstnike vaimu erutanud ja nii on Kumu graafikakabinetis avangardkunsti ikooni metamorfoosidest lausa näitus kokku pandud.
Siin diagonaalis asuvad tööd on Laapini tööde grupp ja Kiva musta ruudu hajumine olid need kaks autorit või kaks teost, millest ma alustasin üldse selle näituse peale mõtlemist, et see oli selline lähtekoht või hüpotees, et ma ei teadnud tegelikult, kui palju musti ruute ma leian või nagu kokku kogun, aga mis minu jaoks oli kuidagi tähtis või pakkus huvi on see, et need kaks autorit, nad just esindavad sellist ka kaks väga erinevat lähenemist mustale ruudule, kui Lapin läheneb tõesti Malevitši ideedele või filosoofiale üsna teaduslikult ja süstemaatiliselt, mõnes mõttes kannab seda teadmist edasi sellise modernismi tõsise prohvati vaimus, siis Kiva-Jälle esitab sellist postmodernistlikku mängulist suhtumist, et must ruut kui kõikide kujutiste kaotamine ja lõpuks kunstnik ise kaotab musta ruutu. Et see oli selle näituse algus, jah. Kõige vanem eksponaat on pärit aastat 1916. See on Rahvusraamatukogu haruldaste raamatute kogudesse kuuluv trükis kubismist ja futurismist suprematismi, mis on see esimeseks väljaandeks, kus Malevitš niimoodi programmiliselt tutvustas suprematismi kui oma uue maalisüsteemi põhiteese. Ja kõige värskemad teosed on päris käesolevast aastast, need on Tanja Muravska ja Kiva teosed, nad on valminud juba selle näituse peale mõeldes. Selle näituse üks eesmärke, kuna tegemist on niivõrd väikse ruumiga, terve sajandiga, siis minu jaoks oligi kõige põnevam võib-olla koguda võimalikult erinevaid lähenemisi musta ruudu teemale. Bergman jätkab Malevitši enda meetodit, kes on täiesti teinud tabeleid, mis analüüsisid teiste kunstnike teosed ja üritasid eristada sellist algelementi või iga stiili valemit. Ja nüüd omakorda Bergman analüüsib musta ruudu ja analüüsib värvide ja kujutiste potentsiaali. Ja Ats Nukil ongi selline väga põnev lähi 2-3 aasta vältel valminud tööde kogum, mis kõik puudutavad just sellist tühiku, tühjuse, olemise, kõiksuse, lõpmatuse teemasid. Malevitš vaatas Vitebskis tähti ja mõtleski nagu kosmose valutamise peal ja siin on selles lukuaugus me näeme ka galaktikaid ja tähist taevast just, et must ruud ja mulle meeldib, kuidas see tume taevas üksiku tähega haakub selle Laapini tööga, et see on nagu mõte, et panna neid dialoogi. See on selline nagu üks grupp, kus on kõige vanemad teosed, et see on see 1916. aasta brošuur, võib-olla isegi seda on puudutanud Malevitš, ma ei tea, kuigi see on 3. trükk. Siis on näited selle lehekülgedest ja see Agbergi töö mulle meeldis kõrvutada seda Laapini tööga, kuna minu meelest siin on see must ruut on selline nagu tuum, kus nagu kasvab kõik välja, kõik ülejäänud, et see on selles mõttes haakub selle ideega mustast ruudust kui uue totaalse esteetika algelemendist. Kui me räägime musta ruudu ja Malevitšis filosoofia tulekust Eesti kunstiruumi, me toome ikkagi esile kõigepealt Laapinit, kes esimesena teadlikult ja süstemaatiliselt hakkas uurima ja tutvustama Malevitši pärandit. See, kuivõrd suhestus Malevitši filosoofiaga ja musta ruudu esteetikaga, sõjaeelne kunst, Eesti avangard, Eesti kunstnike rühm on küsitav, see ei ole nagu ühemõtteliselt selge.
Ja siis 68. aastal oli müügil, ma ei tea, 20 või 30 kopikat, oli müügil Malevitši teos poola keeles. Malevitši esemetu maailm. Ja kuna poola keel on vene keelele nii lähedane ja hind oli nii suur, siis ma lugesin ta läbi ja sain aru. See inspireeris.
Laapin on selline nurgakivi, kes toob Malevitši diskursuse Eesti kunstimaailma, siis pärast teda võib nagu rääkida sellisest tõlgenduste või käsitluste paljususest. mis mind nagu siin huvitas, et ma tahtsin kõrvutada seda Tõde ja õiguse kaanekujundust ja Sirja-Liisa Eelma mõtisklusi mustast ruudust kui tõest ja absoluudis, et on selline, nagu sellised siseviited.
Need tööd, mis on siin näitusel väljas, on minul tehtud aastal 2006. Ja sellel hetkel oli kuidagi aktuaalne selline teema nagu absoluutne tõde. Ja et mis on absoluutne tõde ja kas ta on või millised võiksid olla absoluutse tõe visuaalsed väljendused. See must ruut, et see ongi teatav absoluudi väljendus, mis siis tegelikult mõnes mõttes lõpetab kõik, aga samas avab siis nagu uued võimalused. Ja just nimelt omab seda tühjust. Kogu minu loomingus selline nagu oluline moment on tühjuse tunnetamine. Ja mitte siis nagu tühjus kui vaakum, aga selline mõtestatud tühjus.
Teil on seal nagu must kast koos kasteega veel kassisabaga, et kus see kass sinna liiks.
Jah, et tollel ajal, kui ma selle joonistuse tegin, et ma olin väga ka kiindunud sellistesse nagu mõtte- ja sõnamängudesse. Ja siis sealt oligi nagu see must ruut, must ruut on siis kahemõõtmeline, sealt edasi minna, kui must ruut muuta kolmemõõtmeliseks, muutub ta mustaks kuubiks, ehk siis mustaks kastiks, ehk siis mustaks kastiks, mis salvestab tegelikult tõde ja sealt edasi siis sõnamängudesse minnes kas või Schrödingeri kassiks ja miks mitte siis Malevitši kassiks, eks. Tõsiste teemade käsitlemisel nagu tõde ja absoluut. Mul on nagu kohane tundunud, et mitte nagu minna ise väga tõsiseks, et säiliks mingi selline võimaluste paljusus tegelikult. Et ühte asja väga kindlalt väites võib asi muutuda nagu lõpetatuks. Aga et see võimaluste paljusus loobki selle õhu ja võimaluse erinevaid asju erinevalt tõlgendada. Mis mind on ka veel huvitavanud, on assotsiatsioonid, mis siis tegelikult tekivad selliste geomeetriliste kujundite kombinatoorikal. Ehk siis iseenesest, kui mustale ruudule lisada 2 musta kolmnurka, et siis tegelikult võib tekkida assotsiatsioon mingist kassist näiteks. Mulle meeldib mõelda pliiatsiga oma visandi ploki taga ja seda musta kassi, musta ruutu ma olen siis lahanud tegelikult 2 sellises visandiplokis ja millest siis on niisuguseks lõpetatud teoseks on vormunud see sama suur joonistus ja üks maaliseeria. Aga ma tahan tegelikult välja tuua, mu enda lemmik on see kiva töö musta ruudu hajumine. Et siin on nagu väga kenasti kokku toodud selline kontseptuaalne mõte ja vormi hajumine.
Ja see töö jälle on ühelt poolt erootiline, teiselt poolt nagu see on selline kujutava kunstikeele ja geomeetrilise abstraktse kunstikeele konflikt ja mulle meeldib kõrvutada seda jälle kivatööga, kus must ruut hajub, seda hävitatakse, siis siin must ruut on jälle see, kes saab võidu inimese üle. Näituse kujundajate Raul Kalvol ja Helen Ojal on õnnestunud luua selle jaoks selline põnev tervik, kus tööd astuvad omavahel uutesse kohslustesse ja siis me näeme, kuidas must ruut rändab ühelt töölt teise ja võtab seejuures erinevaid tähendusi.